Strong.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
What's that?
Honey Bubs, it's been another massive weekend. And like I have already foretold that this is like the entrance of a new golden age, right? In my opinion, I think we might be rolling into something that looks very similar to what it did in the 80s. There's an awful lot going on.
There is, and I was going to say, I feel like the title of this episode should be "Can Daddy See the Future?" No, Daddy sees the future, not even question, because
I got soured. Box Raw did me dirty.
They did.
They did me so dirty. Am I going to do it 2 weeks in a row? I tell you what, if I get Combossus and Tio right this weekend, and I do not win again for a third week in a row, picking winner, round, and method. Right? I can't be more accurate. I'm getting scammed by Box Raw. I will shun them forever.
Yeah, or the only way they can repass is coming on as full-time sponsors.
That would be right also. I'd forgive them for that. I'd forgive them for that. While we're there, if everyone like, rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review, hit up the subscribe button, molest that like bell thing. And just have, listen, there's been a lot of comments. As we know that Koof Club, which is for the people, is now on YouTube and it is thriving. Big. Currently, Dan Azeez, new British light heavyweight champ, is smashing it. He's like rolling. It's coming up to 2,000 views, I think, that video.
Can we just say, let's take a moment of appreciation. Let's fucking start there because...
Shout out, Dan.
Shout out. What a fucking G. If you're not on the Dan Azeez wagon, get the fuck on. Buy yourself a VIP ticket. Get to the front. Not only is he a fucking legend of a human, what a beast of a fighter. From the second, we know Daddy likes the garms. He's got that sold, wrapped up and rolled.
Oxblood, Crimson, mid-thigh height, bad boys, custom rivals, socks on.
Tribute to Hagler. I mean, come on
the highest. It's like him and Ellie Scotney, they tribute to Marvin constantly, right? I cannot be more... I was truly thankful. Can I just say, though, before we was at the Boxer Show live, right? Because someone won tickets. We went there. We've learned lots of things, like the Albanian Eagle.
Oh, yeah.
The Albanian Eagle. And I was the only one that was, quote unquote, having a few drinks that night. And on the first fight of the night, which was that we saw, was Dan Azeez.
Yes.
I think his name was Dan Azeez. He beat up this poor little ginger boy. And for the first time, I was just like, that was really sad. And I kept it to myself, to be honest, because I thought I was just having a funny reaction to a drink. But I didn't. It was fine. I pulled it out. But for a moment, when he got punched down to the floor, I was just like, oh, bro. Right.
I think that's just one of the ones which is why Dan's fight stole the show. Absolutely fucking stole the show.
Let's just say, right, okay, look. All right, let's start with Boxer, right? So we went to the Boxer Show. I thought O2, apparently Wembley SSE. I went to a different train station. Whatevs. It's all a fucking rich tapestry. It's a journey. It was a fun show. It was fine. I tell you what, if due to the venue, due to the restrictions, everything else going on, if you had dropped 300 bills on a ticket, I'd have the right fucking ump because the people that were paying
300 bills, yeah, fuck that.
Like if you were like ringside, I think 300 was the top. I think it was like 300, 200, 150, whatever. But it was such a small space. They had either thirded or half the SSE. So no matter where you was, you were really close to the ring. Like you could
They didn't
hear
have the screens
shots
going. That's how close it was. Like even the back seats were watching the ring.
Yeah, like I mean, again, fun show, well produced. We saw Tyson Fury there. Paulie was running it. Like, I'd like to watch it back just to hear Paulie's commentary. Like, when Sky are back in a smaller, newer promoter, only good things can happen. And that's pretty much where that's going. And like I've said before, I like the production that they have on the Boxer side. I think the Sky side of things need to change a little bit. This, like, we was having a chat like a couple of fishwives about the red and blue, weren't we? Right, it was just like, look, I get it. It's just too on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, well, boxing, you think gloves and you think red corner, blue corner. And you're like, right, well, are we that surface, Sky,
Yeah.
with your trillions under fucking from Comcast? Like, get a couple of designers in, you know?
Yeah.
And again, the annoying thing is, it doesn't look bad. You know,
I
it just
think
looks
as a whole
computer
it
gamey.
doesn't. Yeah, but anytime they do that, like blue and red shit, it's like, yeah. I'm all like, put it this way: when they release their official images, like I'm
Yeah.
looking for the fan made ones because they're going to be way better.
I mean, to be fair, the only ones that have truly up there, I mean, to be fair, every now and again, Top Rank whip out a big boy poster.
Yeah,
but it's not constant, and I don't know who they get to do those or why some of them are excellent and other ones like the JC and the Marius just crush them.
Yeah, G's effect too big.
Who?
G's.
I don't know that one.
I'll send you some.
Powerful, yeah. But you know, like the design ones of late, like that Combos's Lopez poster where they're looking at each other and it's just got war. That's huge.
Yep.
That's a huge. Like I'd have that on the wall.
Yeah.
But anyway, Boxer, fun show. Again, we won tickets. I would go to one of those Boxer shows any time that it was sub 100 quid ahead, right? Mm-hmm. Sub 100 quid, and you got nothing really else to do, and you fancy being out. Fine. The only critique is that I have, and I understand why they did it, is that, you know, Natasha Jonas, who was fighting on the card, who is a legit draw, she fought at like fucking lunchtime.
Yeah.
She like fought on her own with no one in the crowd. And they also said that you could stay there and watch the Crawford fight. And it's like, how are you going to stay in the SSE, all 7 of you, until 4:30 in the morning? What are you thinking?
Also, the lineup for that just seems like it was like a lucky dip. They just picked names out and they're like, yeah, we'll put them in this. There was no rhyme or reason. Like
the only thing that made sense was that they'd moved Florian onto the card.
Yeah.
I assumed Florian was going to be like, in rights of the level of fight, maybe 3rd from top, right? Personally, I think it's a toss-up between Dan and Richard Riakporhe who gets top of the bill. But Richard Riakporhe, as basic as it is a bigger man, and that was for a world title eliminator. And it makes sense, right? British title gets trumped by a world title. British title probably gets trumped for a final eliminator. And I get it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Florian head of the bill. Again, from a business perspective, it makes sense because it was like being in Little Albania. Now, we went with my good friend Saz, who's from Belfast, and I taught her how to say, hello, how are you in Albanian? And for a good 5 minutes, she was practicing until she realised that she was actually saying transit van, mattress in the back. True fucker. Anyway, full disclosure, we left before the Florian fight ended.
Yeah.
That was a tactical move.
We're
on the arse end of the other end of the world. It's 11:30 at night. Old, you know? Anyway, Richard Riakporhe, should we go backwards? Florian beat up a dude, right?
Yeah.
He didn't stop him as far as I know.
Don't think so.
He looked like at any minute, if he really put his foot on the pedal, he could have blown him out. Just out of the referee just getting it done and out of the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, and full disclosure, like Florian fights fucking well. Like I like
watching him
fight. He does so much good stuff. Like his head movement is great. The way he switches stance and everything. Like for a guy that looks like he's just a brawler, he's got he's got beautiful stuff. But it was just time. We'd been there.
Exactly. It had been.
It was not one of the Dan's was a compelling fight.
Great.
Most of the other card, not so much.
Yeah. The Richard Riakporhe fight, he beat up someone that Uncle Larry, who was with us, was telling us, like he doesn't live the life. He's a good fighter still. He's in his 40s. He's paid by the Nigerian police, etc., etc., etc. Like everything about him was good, except for the critique was that I know that he doesn't live the life. And he got stopped by Richard Riakporhe. Richard Riakporhe has got star written all over him if they can keep him moving. And he's made a very wise move in aligning with Boxer, aligning with Sky Sports, because they need this next-gen talent. Fun fact, how many people did we see at the SSE that pulled Hollywood Allen aside just to have a little chat with the geezer? Because let me tell you, one of them is a cruiserweight prospect.
Yeah.
The other one is a bit of a pundit who, shunned us, and then we counter shunned, and then he tried to take a little bit of leverage back from the old shunning, but that's all good. Little shake of the hand, bosh, have that. Anyway, fame,
it was good.
Hey,
good catching up with peeps. Lawrence was there. Good seeing Lawrence as well, newly crowned. Yeah, and Riakapor, fucking card-carrying member of Shredganistan. Holy shit.
Proper body.
He's built, his back is like fucking...
He's just a unit, isn't he?
Jack.
But to be fair, he's kind of built like the prospect. He's kind of built like Steph. You know, that Steph's a tank of a human anyway, isn't he? But yeah, again, a fine performance. He's WBC Eliminator finalist. He's now mandatory for the WBC Cruiserweight title, as far as I'm aware, which in a wild spin of events, Canelo's fighting for. So say Canelo goes up, wins that, which you would imagine he should, because he's just going to do whatever he wants to do, respect. And then, does he defend against Riakapor? Do we see in an alternative reality that COVID has caused Riakapor versus Canelo at cruiserweight? Because
can you fucking imagine?
Last week we would laugh.
Yeah.
You know, this weekend here, it's just like, well, that's one fight away. Huh.
Yeah, man. And we may as well just do a quick thing. Fucking, if you're saying that Canelo's ducking Benavidez and Charlo and all this sort of stuff. You want to
get into that, dear?
Fucking just, can you not? Like, listen, is it the most compelling fight in the world? No. Is it borderline batshit crazy that someone that was fighting Canelo weight / welterweight going to fucking cruiserweight for a title? Let the man win the division, because he'll come back down.
Yeah, he will.
He'll pick up the straps. He'll probably, like you said, WBC will probably fill his pockets to go to fucking Bridger weight.
For sure. And we need a marquee name at Bridger. Come on, Canelo. But, right, it's not that mental, right? Yeah. Because James Toney did it. Roy Jones has done it. I'm sure there's others that have gone up.
But that's a very short list. It's a very short list of people that have successfully done it. Yeah, but it's batshit crazy anytime someone does it. Like, most people don't do that. When you see people crossing that many divisions, it's usually in a lighter thing. Like Manny, like, I will never take anything away from Manny. But even him fighting at like 154, whatever, you know.
154 was just on the edge where it didn't matter anymore, did it?
Yeah.
But yeah, look, listen, he's not bothered about Benavidez, right? And anyone that's listened to this podcast or has known me for a while, again, I will restate this. Early Canelo, the one that was banging at Kermit Cintron and Ryan Rhodes and Angulo and all that, super in. Super in. All the way until the Floyd fight. Super in. Then after the Floyd fight, we had the change. Again, I was still super in. But now we have a naughty roid thing. We've had a couple of quote-unquote gift decisions. You know, it shunned things a little bit. And then on top of that, you know, he's not petulant and he's not spoiled and he's not a brat, but he does know his place. And I know that he knows his place at the top and he can do whatever he wants. And I like that he's very open about it now. This English-speaking version of him is infinitely more likable. Yeah. Right? It's what it is.
Like, yeah. And I do think there's a lot of, like, listen, full disclosure.
We should call this full disclosure. We've said this 9 times already.
Yeah, but you'll struggle, I think, to find someone that, if testing was done super stringently, would come away with a flawless record. Let me just leave it at that, I would say, as the best thing.
Yeah.
With the gift decisions, for sure. And that sullies the thing. The worst thing is, I think the worst decision on his part was a draw against Canelo, a judge giving that a draw, because men barely landed a punch. That, to me, that trumps the, you know, Lara's and things like that. But yeah, he's never, I don't think, overtly where you're like,
it's not from his own doing. It's not from, you know, when people in the past have been, you know, they have balled out of control and Mickey T, Tyson.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest star on the planet. You will do what I want. And then eventually they cater because they know that the whole industry is cored on this one being that's being so many eyes. To be fair, he's never done that. and I stand for that. But right, Benavidez, he destroys Benavidez.
Yeah,
right. Charlo, talk all you want. You're doing nothing.
Yeah,
Charlo gets humiliated. There is simply nothing. Like, I can see more of a threat from Benavidez only because he's so tall and gangly and fast and weird, right? Charlo's a classic boxer puncher. He's very skilled. He's a great fighter. He's amazing to watch. He does nothing to Canelo.
And these are the ones like your Canelos, your Buds, which we'll discuss. They're one of those ones where you can be a phenomenal champion and it takes nothing away from you. And there's that massive but. There's a few weight divisions now where there's just that but, and you kind of fucked. It's like you have to then face this person. And it's not saying that you're not amazing. Any other time, it's like we've discussed before. Sometimes you look at the times of the Olympics, and it's like any other Olympics, the second
they're gold medalists, they're gold, they're silvers, they're bronzes, and like this one, you just unfortunately got the fucking.
You got Usain Bolt next year. Good luck.
Cheers, enjoy that. Even light heavyweight, right, which will bring us back to boxer and Dan. Even light heavyweight, I'm very open and have said the easiest fight for him at light heavyweight is probably Bivol. I do not see what Bivol can do in that stance at that pace in everything that I've seen of him. And again, he's a fantastic fighter.
Yep.
Canelo murks it. Right? I don't know if he stops him. I don't know if he knocks him down. I don't know if anything, but he clearly wins that fight. That's not if he wins, it's how. Right? Yep. Joe Smith, who's fighting Callum Johnson. That is a fan favorite of the highest order. But again, I do not see a way that if you've beaten Kovalev and stopped Kovalev, granted an old Kovalev, Joe Smith is a worse version of. He's a strong guy. He's a heavy hitter. He's powerful. He's pressure. He's not going to be bothered by that, right? Beterbiev is the one where you're just like, this is for sure an industry fight because no one knows who Beterbiev is. It's a very fun fight, and I just think that the skill difference is the thing, as the experience, and the size is the size, right?
And that is testament to Canelo on itself, because
for sure
in that division alone, you're like, they're monsters. And the fact that someone's coming up fighting them and probably taking wins is huge. And that's why it's like, just let him roam for a while. It's not like he's not going to fight those people, I guess. Like some people you worry like, oh, they're going to go off track and they're going to start taking. If you say Canelo cherry picks, that's a tough argument to place.
I think what he said at that WBC conference is the best way to say it, which is that I've done what I need to do. Now I do what I want to do.
Yep.
And respect, right? False respect. I've got nothing other than to say, big salute. You are the current Koof King for sure. Like there's nothing else that you can even. You're the number one, right? Be it 1A, 1B with Bud. I think at the minute we got to say Canelo's number one. Bud is number two because he hasn't had. If he destroys Spence, hey, he's up.
Yeah, I mean
that's 1A, 1B for me. That.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, because it's one of those ones where like this is a pound for pound set. Like Bud's skill level is off the fucking charts. The thing for me why Canelo is hard to trump on any of these lists is his activity. Yeah. And the people he fight. Like it's just like, I mean, the last people he's fought are fucking undefeated after undefeated champ.
You can when you're that, right?
Yeah.
Bud is the most feared fighter in around those weight divisions, right? I would imagine finding fights for Bud that aren't mandatories or someone hungry and mental that just wants that title. I reckon it's a fucking nightmare. And again, shout out Sean Porter.
I was going to say, we need more Porters.
Yeah, the most avoided is BooBoo, who we'll bring on in a little while.
Yep.
Right? But at light heavy, Canelo probably does clean out shop. And although our domestic boys are fantastic, all of them are fantastic, and I will say this to any single one of them. I've said this with Dens, I've said this with a bunch of them. There's certain weight divisions where you just look at it and you just go, the second you leave domestic, I think you do well continental. I think you do well on a world level, but you're not number one.
Yeah.
And that's someone
no disrespect
that's not. It's tough. But back to boxer, Dan versus Craig Richards, make it happen. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first one I want to see on those fights. Callum Johnson is fighting Joe Smith, and I thought Joe Smith knocked him out. But anyway, I thought they've already fought, but I might be making that up. Buatsi's injured himself, so he's out of the card on the 18th. That's him gone. Again, Dan and Josh Buatsi, I'd watch that in a heartbeat. I'd watch Dan and Linden, Dan and Yard.
Listen, all of them. Dan's on the card. We're watching that shit.
We've got 6 top flight potential world level light heavies now.
Yeah. And Powerful. You're not like, there's no need to rush through them. You could do every one of those fights, and they're great fights to do.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think in the situation that Sky have found themselves in, and BT and Hennessy and stuff like that, I reckon they're going to be getting the checkbook out and trying to keep things domestic for a while because they know they're going to sell out small stadiums, smaller, like big arenas, and just fill that. Because
and you can do it on the regs.
Yeah, exactly. Lyndon's Northern, Josh is London, but London and San Fran, Craig's London, Dan's London, Anthony Yard's London. I don't know where Callum Johnson's from. I think he's South, but I don't really recognise white fighters anymore. Just saying, I don't see colour no more. But yeah, he congratulations to Dan. He absolutely dominated it. He could not miss with this spearing, hammerful, powerful jab that he was cracking that boy's head back with. Like,
his jab is like the SWAT team with the fucking battery ram, just like bashing down. Couldn't fucking miss. It was like there was a target on the head. Sniper. Gang shit. And the shot in the 7th where he was just pointing at the floor like, stand and trade, man. Come on, let's go. He
absolutely and utterly dominated Burton, who's Tyson Fury's cousin, I think.
Yeah.
Right. He's 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", and probably making 12.5 stone is not easy. I tell you what, that boy took a fucking shot. Yeah. He took so many big shots from Dan, and his head went flying. And like, respect to him, he was tough as old boots, right?
He fucking was, because he like
round 2
he got battered from the start.
Yeah, that Dan absolutely smashed it, and like I cannot be happier for him. I emotionally celebrated when he got the stoppage. Like, it was just fucking yes. Yes. But yeah. Boxer, anything more? It was fun. There was a lot of people doing a lot of packet. Yes or yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of typewriter jaws going on. And a lot of backing and forthing. Powerful. Respect. Shout out Wembley. Do you want to do BooBoo?
Let's do BooBoo.
Now, BooBoo.
Pretty quick conversation, to be fair.
It is a pretty quick conversation, but the conversation about him isn't.
Oh.
Right? Because BooBoo isn't funny.
Yep.
Amazing fighter. 2-weight world champion. Undefeated. Okay. Handsome. Charismatic. Speaks well. Why is he not? I just don't get, and he's now got design.
Why are you not doing his Tinder profile, man?
Why am I not? Because we would do Grindr for a start. But he's got every single thing ticked. And when he's on, he's a really fun fighter. I don't get it. And he's got the biggest promoter in the game behind him. He's got the biggest streaming platform in the world behind him. And then you got like Fast Car Eddie saying, I just cannot get this geezer fights. And then you got him saying before the fight, listen, if you say my name and you're within range, I'll get it. Oh, you'll get it, because like,
and you know what, no one else. He's not one of these guys with empty promises. He will literally show up with his bag and be like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, because he's just like, I can't get fights. So if you're calling me, fine, let's do it.
And I fucking hate when people use the reason with him, or who's he beat. Who the fuck will get in the ring with him? The same with Triple G for a while, you know, where it was just like, he's stuck at this level because no one else wanted to jump in. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do? That's assault if you just go and hit someone when they don't know it's coming. You got to wait for the contract to be signed and them get in the fucking ring.
But like, what do you, like, I don't personally understand how Triple G, who is DAZN, BooBoo, who is DAZN, how they can't make that happen.
Yeah.
I like that both Charlos have both chirped up. And then I also like that he's not shy about talking about the $7 and the $9 million offers that were done to both of them to not fight him. And they turned it down. So he's shut that down as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you have to do other than, I was saying to the Gypsy Prince, actually, that I think if him and Triple G fight, I think that's Triple G's swan song. I think that I think that BooBoo is probably pretty handily beating him, and then Triple G finds something to change the fight, and maybe Triple G's it and stops him like really late. And then if that was to happen, that arguably would be the end of him, because no one's letting him come back in.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do like the Lara stuff where he just toils and toils, or you know, like picks up an IBO, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'll keep going then, I suppose. It's that kind of thing. So it's really high stakes for Andrade, because no matter what he does, it's not good enough. We've seen it firsthand.
And yet he'll still do it. That's the thing.
Exactly. That's the fucked up thing. Like, we've seen it firsthand. Like, even on one of the shorts that are up of him, you know, there's still comments like Charlo knocks him the fuck out and Charlo sleeps this shit, and like, you know, you're just like, well, does he though?
Yeah.
You know?
What's he done for all this hate? Fucking hell.
That's what I want to know. Is there stuff that we don't know about? Because I remember at 154, he was like a dream to watch, and he was just like this weird, awkward, like, same as he is now, but he's now better than what he was then. But yeah. BooBoo, second round stoppage of Quigley. Respect for Quigley for taking the fight, right?
Yeah, great fighter too, but fuck.
I don't know how you have a razor thin decision against Shane Mosley Jr. and then you go to BooBoo.
Yeah.
It's a bit steep, isn't it? It must have literally been down, this one? Yeah, all right, I'll have it. But again, he did very well for... And we got a stoppage from BooBoo. Like, 2 rounds, demolition job. Eddie even came out. Triple G, Charlo, no mention of Murata, which is funny, but also it's a little bit rude, but it's also super funny. Right? And again, because he's fresh, I don't even think anyone landed a shot on him.
No.
And now Junior, rest in power, is without an opponent. You can't tell me that Eddie wouldn't love to save the day on a big Sky Sports card. The only problem would be is that he couldn't be there because he's got his own card going on that day. That's the Conor Ben night, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's when we're doing the double screen business. But, hey, Junior wants a big fight. BooBoo wants big fights. Doesn't have to be a big name to be a big fight, apparently. Well, do you want to do Bud?
Oh, let's get into Bud.
Did you watch it live?
Yeah, I did.
You're an animal. I intended to, and I just didn't. It literally wasn't going to happen. I had it on ready to go. I started to watch one of the undercard fights, and I was just like, tomorrow. It's always tomorrow's. We're in the online, on-demand age as we speak.
It was one of those ones where it gets you so hyped that then when you want to go to sleep, it's like hard because you're buzzed.
So Crawford won a round 10 TKO stoppage, okay? Against someone that's never been stopped before, against someone that's been in with everyone.
Literally everyone.
Literally everyone. Like, Broner, you got Danny Garcia, you've got a fucking war with Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman was still full Keith Thurman. We've got, obviously, Errol Spence, where, to be fair, he gave Errol Spence fits. The knockdown scored on him was the difference.
Yep.
Right? He is what fighters should be. And
lives up to his name, man. Shota. He trains his fucking ass off. Always in great shape. Literally fight anybody. There's no one you can't look back and be like, oh, he didn't do this. He's there for it. And
no one has dealt with him, right? The closest that we can say to someone dealing with him properly was Kell Brook when he beat him, because it was tense, and it wasn't a clear, like, you're shutting this out. When he fought Brook outboxed him and neutralized.
Listen, I'm gonna say it.
Do you think he lost?
I don't think Bud did. Like,
what?
Porter gave such an incredible account of himself. Like, Bud is Bud, and Bud did what Bud does. But that was a really competitive fight. Like, Porter started off fucking strong. Like, he was winning that fight up until 5. You know what I mean?
I didn't see that. And I don't know if I didn't see that because I didn't watch it live and I already knew the result.
Right.
But what I saw was Bud picking off shots like with weird little like kung fu shit, and I saw him missing. And I saw his timing and the things that he was doing from round 2 on. Like it looked inevitable that he was going to chop him up, but I don't know if I was swayed by.
No doubt about that. It's the same thing with when we were saying with Canelo when he fought Billy Joe, and people were like Billy Joe. Maybe not the best example, but it's just like Bud has this confidence where he's that good. Do you know what I mean? Where you can afford to just kind of. He's such a cerebral fighter where he's assessing. But what I don't want to do is take away from, because in how great it is to stop Porter and like all this stuff. And yes, Bud is the fucking man, but so is Porter. Like I really want to give that guy the props he deserves. And he was in that fight. Like he was so prepared. He had a game plan. He stuck to it. And I'm going to go on a fucking rant about his dad when we wrap this up, because that's what made it really hard to sleep as well. That motherfucker. But we'll get to that in a minute. Porter was in that fucking fight, but Bud is just Bud, and he has those levels. He'll scroll through them in round 10 he just looked like okay, like I knew that was going to happen. Like I wouldn't have doubted at 12 he could have been down, and you still think Bud will probably stop it. To a guy that's never been stopped, he's that kind of guy. But Porter fucking smashed it. He did such a brilliant performance.
But how you give Porter his due is that way, right? Yeah. You're talking about the fights that he's had with these elite welters, that he's given them, like, even if he hasn't come out on the winning side, which he beat Danny Garcia, he beat Thurman, like these are big names. He didn't beat Spence. Every single one of those fighters has edged him if they've beaten him, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, Bud dealt with him, and that not only gives like the greatness of Bud, but that also shows you just the level of Porter to be able to operate. Like he's another one that falls into that list that you can call a throwback. Yeah, right? He is that. He is a throwback. He's not fussed about it. Like he's retired now. He said that he's not willing to become a gatekeeper, which he was kind of on the edge of becoming like a very, very high level version of, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And if he stays retired, more power to him. He absolutely not. Listen, he was pushing that fight. He looked outgunned, and he looked outskilled, and there was a couple of things. I think it was round 4 or round 5. He came in for like a really short overhand thing, and Bud like somehow saw it in bullet time. And just spun him and whipped him into the corner. But you could see that, like, at that point, it was like Porter was just like, fuck.
Yeah, he even rode the punch. So while he's hooking, he was just kind of sliding along and stuff. And that's what I mean. But for me, until because Bud starts slow, because he's that kind of fighter.
He's calculating, isn't he?
Yeah. And for some people, they just kind of go through the things. But I think Porter put a great stake on those rounds, which is testament to, because Bud's that fucking good. Like, it's hard to do that. Same thing with Tio. It's easy to say, Loma started late. You got to give Tio the props that
for going hard that early. Yeah,
he made 100%. It hard for Loma to do it. And that's really what I don't want to get lost, because a lot of the commentary has, and how can it not be? Bud is, we're blessed to be in a generation to watch him fight live. He's that.
But this is what I'm saying about the beginning of this episode. Like, this is coming into a very, very, like, we've got heavyweight fucking lit fire flames. You got Fury, AJ, Usyk, Dillian, like, and a couple on their way up. Amazing division, right? Up until very recently, super middleweight. Pretty fucking strong and pretty fun fights if they all want to fight each other, but it's all been cleared out.
Yep.
Welter has been out of control for 15 years.
Yeah.
Stays out of control. Lightweight, out of control.
Come on now.
Right? Middleweight is still, like, the names aren't what they were, but it's still a fucking good division.
Yeah, man.
And like with someone like a Jamie Munguia, if he can nick a big win off of someone, you've got a built-in star there, and you've got someone that they will back and push and all the way through. Plus, we've got Loma lurking around, Teofimo's lurking around, like the individual stars are huge in their own right.
Inoue, come on.
Inoue is an animal. You know, he is an animal. I don't think he belongs this high up pound for pound. I've said this before, but if there's set criteria, for sure he does fit them. I just don't think he's yeah. Again, there are so many massive names, and there haven't been this many massive names for so long. Zeros have, I think, lost at least half of their value.
This was the point, the final remaining point we were getting to about who were we talking about with it? Whereas it was Canelo. He's the remnant of what happened to me, so I'm going to do it a bit. You can tell that the treatment that De La Hoya gave Floyd, that Floyd then wanted to put on everyone. Yep. It's kind of gone on to, and it's like the army, you know, like, well, they treat me like shit when I started out, so I'm fucking treating you like shit, like the hazing. I'm very glad to see, like you said, the O is one of the things that's really starting to go into the background.
Well, yeah, because it you know, like someone, again, like a BooBoo, who is truly undefeated. I don't think there's anyone that you've been like, oh, shit, that was a bit tight, that, right? That makes their value much more. Someone like a Fury, who is still undefeated, he's got, you know, a draw, but whatevs.
Yeah, but does he?
Makes it, but does he? Exactly. Yeah. Canelo, you know, Canelo's got his one, but it was a clear one, and it was a career-changing one, and we probably don't have the Canelo we have now without it. You know, insert any of the names. You know, plus, it's now in an era which is very, very nice, where Lee Wood, he's got 2 losses. You know, he had an absolute full Bradley Skeet. A few losses on his record. He's been absolutely smashed back into the bin. And now, because I think that has sort of lost all of its shine, they're back. You know, Lee Wood's won a world title. Bradley's fighting as a co-main event in a couple of weeks at Copper Box on a big fight. You know, it's a really nice thing to see, and it's something that, you know, it never was a thing. Then it became a thing, and then because MMA is so wild and the ascension of the UFC, it's just kind of like, well, we're used to seeing people lose. Like, no one cares. Yeah,
just bring the big fights, like with Sean. You know, it's like he'll fight everyone, and you do that. Sometimes you might not be on the winning end, but as long as it's Rosado, fuck, man. Like, if you
animal,
that's why people look at his record and they talk relentless amounts of shit and say, you don't know Rosado, you don't know Gabe. Like, if you're talking,
you just got to hear his voice. Don't talk shit to a man that sounds like that. Ever,
or looks like that.
No, like the looks wise, that can be kind of a little bit on the faker side. But then you hear that voice with it as well.
Maybe
the
like, tats, but not the fucking.
Yeah, he's a serious man.
Yeah,
but it's an amazing time now, not only domestically but internationally. Right, we've got a lot of huge fights that are being made, which is the next thing. Right, they have to now make Spence and Crawford to deal with that.
Didn't he get out of there sharpish?
Who, Spence?
Yeah,
Spence went out there double lively, and Bud mugged him off a little bit as well. Like I'm telling you, Bud is the most feared fighter out there. Like, because he kind of looks a little bit scary too. He's got an intensity to him where you're just like.
Did you see the Blood, Sweat and Tears, the second one, where he goes,
"Yeah, of course I did."
If I'm saying this and that and yelling, but when I say I'm gonna beat your ass, and how he's looking in the camera, it gets like awkward for a while. He's like, I'm gonna beat your ass, and I love how he just mugged off Bob as well. He's like, well, Bob couldn't get me
while he's sitting next to him as well. That was the best part. He's sitting next to him, getting absolutely utterly torched. He couldn't get it with me. He's not getting it for me. This free agency thing is a fucking disaster to the old guard of promoters.
Yeah.
Right? It's an absolute nightmare where I think for most of the Matchroom lot, and probably Boxer as well, the more nimble ones, they seem to have it now. But like Bud as a TV free agent, seeing him on potentially DAZN or PBC or Showtime or this or that, it's a brilliant move. I don't know. I mean, who's going to be his promoter now? Because you know that Eddie's fucking, he's got a segue. He's just giving it large all the way over, isn't he? Why would you not want to be the one to bring that fight together just purely for the kudos of being the one that makes that happen?
You did Tio Cambosis.
You done Tio Cambosis.
Collect them like Pokemon.
You did. To be fair, you did AJ Fury before it all went tits up. Like you know, the list of things. Like, he's putting on big fights. It makes no sense to sign with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see it.
Preach.
And after last night, telling you, I think he stops Spence.
Yeah,
saying it. I think he does, and I think it's a dirty one as well. I think it's a sustained beat, and I think you're going to see like a semi-wobbled Spence, and then just vicious. He's undisputed. Well, he's not going to be undisputed, is he? Because Ugas is still lurking around somewhere. But again, formality. Just give him the belt. Let's just come on. Let's not muck about anymore. Powerful Spence. Powerful Spence. Powerful Crawford. No, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, man. Bud, you can't say enough good things about that guy. The way he fights, the creativity, and just the way he never gets flustered. Doesn't matter what, because look, Porter's a nightmare to fight. Like the forward pressure, Bud is fit as fuck.
Can we also say he wasn't? He was completely fine with everything that was going on. He was predominantly in southpaw. He can do that in orthodox as well, as well. Like there's no diminishment in skill. Like he doesn't prefer either or. He is as dangerous, as mobile. His timing is it's otherworldly.
Yeah.
Like his timing and his distance control, it's just something to behold.
Yeah.
And on that note, I don't know why I don't have him on the wall. He's going into the wall. Congratulations, bud. It's a massive day for you.
Crowned.
Speaking of, because I've got to buy that, and support for this podcast is brought to you by Market Squawk. Powered by livesquawk.co.uk. This is low latency financial news that's pay as you go, come and go as you please. Whatever you're trading, whatever you're punting, Market Squawk. Get in, constant feed, constant data, all the way through. Enjoy. Marketsquawk.co.uk. Thank you very much for the support. Patreon.com, fighting words. Anyone else that wants a little bit of this business, you know what I mean?
Holla.
DM to collab. I think that's it for fights, right?
Tim Zoo.
Oh, Tim. I forgot about Tim. Wait, he got a lot of abuse. Also, who's that salty fucking lesbian on our Insta that's constantly mugging off? That's not a beep. That doesn't deserve one. Come on. Does it?
Oh, I mean, it's the sort of thing where we could put it to a vote, but we're getting even more shit for that. So,
what was hanging off of Jake's head last night? He had a sheriff earring. Like, it was like Woody's badge from Toy Story, but it was hanging out of his ear. I grabbed him by the face and just held it, and I'm just like, what's this? He just said, don't worry about it. I'm like, but I'm deeply concerned now. Fucking hell. What a legend. What was we saying?
Someone was talking something on our feed.
Oh, yeah. He's constantly talking shit about cambosses. He's constantly talking shit about, like, he's just constantly talking shit, the geezer. You just need to hey.
People love to talk shit.
Move on.
Hey, so Tim Zoo didn't get the stoppage.
That's what it was. He kept calling him a Kiwi. Now, I don't even care, and that was annoying me, because it was just like, hey, bro.
Different country.
Look at the map.
Like, yeah, okay, he didn't get a stoppage. He didn't get a stoppage against a guy that went the distance with Munguia. And that's saying something. Not many people go the distance with him. And Tim beat the fuck out of him. That guy
beat him bad.
Is made of iron. Like, it wasn't for lack of trying. That was beautiful. Like, Tim didn't lose any stock in that. He just showed that he can also go 12.
Yep. Do you remember that one dude that fought Koto, the Japanese fighter? I've forgotten his name.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
One of the Kamedas? No, but that was...
I think it was Kameda, actually. Yeah. Right? You could have hit that geezer with a hammer. Koto was hitting him so hard and hurting him, and it was just like, are you going to go down or what? Like, when they're tough, like, especially with someone like Koto, who was a fucking assassin. Like, he started to ease off a little bit towards the end of it. It was just like, this geezer's wonky. Like,
bro, know how like Koto do like a beautiful combination, get back on him, like, and he'd do the one where he'd like hit him kind of half back up, come back in and smack him a bit more and go back out, and you're like, this guy's just eating this.
That's what that boy was like that was fighting Tim Zo. This is why Jesse loves the Japanese fighters. He's obsessed with them. Hey, just loves them.
fucking, they come to fight, and Jesus Christ, they can hit, and
Yep.
they love it. They got the warrior spirit, man. Fucking,
they are a warrior nation.
Always
at the
in
highest.
for a treat when the Japanese fighters are out.
Tim banged him from pillar to post. A complete
And
shutout.
those uppercuts were disgusting.
He's
lead hand, rear hand.
Again, he's an amazing. He's a fantastic young fighter, right? I need to see him now up levels, and I need to see him fighting outside of Oz.
Yeah.
And you cannot tell me that Costa's not ringing him up saying, "Come on, it's time, like Vegas now. Get the boys in. Come on, the promoters have got to get you over there. Like this is the time now."
Absolutely.
Right? He's got enough buzz from his home country that other countries are seeing him now. I'm telling you, with what I've seen so far, he has everything to be a significant threat. 154 and then 160 when he gets a little bit bigger, because he is big and he is very slim and he looks like he's due to fill out a little bit more.
Yeah, and like by birthright you want to support, but it's like Campbell Hatton, but at the same time you almost have extra.
I'd lay down in traffic for Ricky. I'm not doing it for Campbell.
Hesitancy first, where you're like, but let's see on your own 2 feet first. And I got to admit, like, I wanted Tim to do well, and he has so far surpassed that so long ago, where I was like, just for a beer, let's see it this level. And now you're like, man, go. Like you've done it now. You've reached the top of this bit. Now there needs to be, like you said, go to the international waters. It's time.
It's time. And, domestically, he's got to have cleared it out. Right, he's taken out a few quote unquote world champions. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe get him over here for some of our boys and see where he's at. Then maybe push him up a level.
Fuck yeah.
Let's see. He's a phenomenal talent. I'm a big fan of Tim.
Another guy that never looks flustered.
Never ever. Not out of breath. Not flustered. Not anything. He's just he's made for it.
And it's hard. 12 rounds of just fucking battering someone.
And he was critical with himself afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? Respect.
Oh,
as we go on.
Sorry. I cannot move on without fucking unloading on Kenny fucking Porter.
Oh, Kenny.
Bit. So, Sean.
Wait, before you go nuts. In Kenny's position, would you have stopped that fight as well?
The stoppage comes into it. Not at all. Not at all.
Fine.
Like, agree with the stoppage.
Yeah, but he is a cock.
This is the thing.
He's been a cock.
Yeah. But Sean handled that like a boss. Not one excuse, not one bad word. Gave Crawford the biggest prop where they're like, he's like, I knew you were going to ask. It's like, there's no question. It's him. Like he just, I fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
For Kenny to the stoppage, just because I agree, like Crawford is one of the most devastating finishers there is
ever.
Like when he's like a shark when there's blood in the water, like that guy that would have ended horribly. Like I agree with the stoppage. When people say it's premature, that only stopped the inevitable. Like that was happening. It's just could have been a lot worse. But what you do not do in the build-up and that blood, sweat, and tears, I get where you're like, fighters sometimes there's no point having a coach if you're not going to listen.
Yeah,
I get that. But at the same time, one of my biggest fucking peeves is a coach that takes all the credit for the success and washes their hands in the face. It's like, that happened because you didn't listen to me. And you see it time and time again. They pat themselves on the back too fucking much. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, the fighter also has to have critical reasoning because they're the one in there seeing it in real time. They can definitely implement your input, but they're the ones that have to execute. So there's a limit to that. The way he just threw him under the bus and was just like, the reason I stopped the fight was his preparation. He thinks he can do it on his own and he's not listening to me. Hey. If you want to have that conversation, also, how about not on the night of the fight? Like the guy, like I said, and this is why I want to give him the props, gave a fantastic account of him. So fucking give him that. He went in with, like, if not the best, the second best right now, 1A, 1B. Like we've just said, did brilliantly. Yes, he lost. Yes, he got stopped. It's fucking Bud. Like,
quickly. Yeah. If Bud becomes undisputed welterweight champion, you got to have him at number 1. I think you got to knock Canelo down. If we're going raw stat for stat for stat, that's someone that's 2-weight undisputed versus someone that's like picking up one belt here and there. Because Bud could do that.
I mean, can he do as many divisions?
He's bigger than Canelo.
I mean,
this is the phenomenal thing about that boy. He's like 5'7.5", 5'8". Sure.
But look, my thing with Canelo is like, he's so far removed from the realms of theoretical. Like, I think a lot of people have the potential to do a lot of stuff, but Canelo just does it. He's just like, I can't even, and like I said, I'm not even as the thing, I hold a lot against Canelo at first, but you can't deny it. It's like when that guy's in the ring, he's in that, like, he's in the fucking zone. And Bud is like that. Yeah. But he kind of suffers from people avoid him, whatever. But it hasn't been done to the same level. So I just don't see how it can be. Is the potential there? For sure. But
do you get Sean without Kenny? Because you don't get Kenny without Sean, for sure. No one cares. Like, I know he's been around the US boxing scene for a long time and all this other stuff, but who else has he ever really had? It's always just been Sean, right? Do you get Sean without Kenny at the helm? Because I'm not sure.
It definitely played an integral part. I mean, you can't take away him entirely, right?
No.
And Sean is that kind of guy where I think it's like it's constantly, he's that kind of guy. So it helps to have that in your family so that you can constantly be doing that stuff. But I do think he would have done all right elsewhere. Yeah. Like, I really, because he is that kind of guy. He'll put in the work. It's not like the sort of guy, he's not a Chavez Jr. that you need to drive to him to train.
My favorite part of all of the Kenny Porter talk from last night was when, again, complete cock, right? When Sean's basically saying, I'm retiring from the sport, blah, blah, blah. He got up and he went over and gave Crawford a hug. At that point, Kenny grabbed the mic and went, make no doubt about it, one day these two, their kids will play together. And it's like, well, they've been pals. Like, they've both been very open about it. There's no bad blood at all between them. Crawford's been like,
I didn't even want to fight him.
Yeah, Crawford's like, he's a mate. Like, I didn't want to fight him at all. Porter's like, I'll fight anyone because this is a business. Respect.
Yep.
Right? Which is true. What's Kenny going on about? The kids will play together. It's not the Montague and the fucking Capulets, bruv. They're already pals. What's this geezer's story? So what would you want? Would you want the end of him?
Eh?
Would you want the end of Kenny now? Do you want no more?
Do you know what I think would be good if he just came out? Like, I want, like, I'm not saying it like a fucking cancel culture thing. I think for sure he should just give an apology. Like, it would be nice to publicly, you act the biggin on the night when all the eyes are there. Just do a little, listen, I got caught up in the heat of the moment. My son did fantastic. It was emotional.
I think it's weird that he's like that anyway. I think it's weird, but before, right, Crazy Angel Garcia, right? Angel talks all of the shit, all of the time, so Danny doesn't need to, right? Yeah. You can see that's what that is, and it works for them, and it's fine, right? He's not talking hype, win, lose, or draw. Like, he's always quite respectful, where Kenny's either gloating or he's mugging someone off. Yeah. And I personally, I don't understand, and I will, love the bans, but there's rules and there's places for such. Your son's just been stopped for the first time. Number one, is this so far not about you, right? Yeah. He's also just retired. Also, completely not about you, right? Be the cheerleader. Like, be what you need to be. It's a bit dark, but that's the sort of stuff that like flies over my head personally. It doesn't affect me.
The fuck up. Like, I know. Like, oh.
Yeah, I know, but that's the sort of stuff that's just like, for me, it flies over my head, and I'm just like, you're a cock, right? I understand that you're a cock, and you're trying to make this about you. It's not about you. You know that, and that's why you're making a big deal of this. But that's the sort of stuff where it's much more burny for you because you've probably been through it.
Oh man, motherfuckers! Just like anyway.
Kenny.
I feel better.
So Williams is injured. that hasn't been confirmed, and that card is still very much so going ahead. So, at what point do you think that Sky Sports realised that they've bought a lemon with Junior? Come on. Let's be. I'm going to be completely candid and completely honest. He does nothing in the world stage. He does nothing, right? I would love to have Roy on this, which has completely and utterly been ghosted, which I might have to employ a mutual friend now because the handler is just ignoring me. Jar. Anyway, love Roy. This is not about Roy. This is about Junior.
Yeah.
He's tough, he's fit, and he's fast. He doesn't set any of his attacks up. And no matter how much he learns from Roy, I don't think it's enough to have him. Do you know what BooBoo would do to Junior?
Also, he's not Roy. Like, there were shades of like him trying to emulate that. It's like, bro, that ain't you.
Right? I don't know what happens between Junior and Rosado. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know what happens between Junior and Munguia.
I think I do.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be kind there. Right? Any of the world champions annihilate him. He's not there.
Mm.
So at what point does Sky realise that we've just booked out the fucking Cardiff Stadium for you to fight a Welshman? No one. I mean, what are we going to do? So I'm guessing that they're just still waiting to see if they can find a replacement again. Yeah, but again, maybe BooBoo don't fancy it.
Oh, he'd love it. Can you imagine? Fucking taking a scalp and just collecting some cash and just being like, oh, this was another one of the people that is avoided or whatever. Is it?
Now, when we asked about him, he didn't really know who he was.
I love that.
Yeah, but it was sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd heard of his dad. And I'm like, yeah, but you just had Junior. So, So if that card still happens with that as the headliner, which I'm guessing it because Savannah's off that card as well now, right? They've had a nightmare. And they're going up against a pretty big DAZN card with Ben Algieri and Katie Taylor, and move it a couple of weeks, maybe leave it till Jan, maybe pay up for BooBoo.
And to answer your question, if that happens, that's when Sky realizes.
That has to be when Sky realizes, right? But again, what do you see? Who on earth can they get in the ring if Williams is out? There's list me the middleweights that are viable, in shape, with 2 weeks' notice, that are not going to make us go, I'm not even watching this, the other fight's on. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we're going to give it the little flick on that one. After USSR Steve has fought, who else cares about that card now? Williams Eubanks at least was going to be naughty. Like, you could, that was angry. Unless it's all marketing and Williams is like, no, I'll do this. I'll do this anyway and I'll still beat you with one fucking leg. Which is G shit.
Fuck yeah. Of the highest.
Now, the big fight this weekend. Oh, the one that's just gone, by the way. Marco Antonio Barrera fought in it. The legendary Mexican. I haven't looked what happened. I haven't looked anything to do with it. He was fighting Ponce de Leon. And
I saw the final bit of the final round where they were going ham, to be fair.
Were they?
Yeah.
Legend. Absolute legend. But this week coming, number one is going to be our first live show. So you'll be able to call in. It'll be a whole different vibe, right? That will be fun. We're going to be doing it off of the back of Combosses versus Lopez. Because we kind of planned the live shows for a while. It's been pushed and pushed and pushed. Symbiotic, you know. So I'm saying it now. Combosses beats Lopez. That's my prediction. I'm telling you, he beats Lopez. I just think he just swarms him. I think he swarms him, and maybe even Tio looks for a way out with some. I think that he can break. And if you go back to even before the Loma fight, I said there was something about him that has got implosion written all over it. And I think it's fame. He has been obsessed with fame. He's turning up at press conferences with all of his belts with Canelo. I'm undisputed too. He's doing every single publication. He's loving being like multiple promoters chased, whatever. He's loving appearing on TV stuff. He's going for fame. This is Rocky 3.
Yeah.
I live alone. I train alone.
Like, I'm fucking ride or dying with Kambosos. I just don't have this, like, I can see Tio doing it. So I don't have the same, like, it's one way, but I agree 100% with all that. And that's the way I think it goes. But at the same time, Tio is still like,
Tio is a spectacular talent. Yeah. He is a spectacular fighter, right? Yeah. Again, I'm not knocking Tio at all. I'm saying, right?
Kambosos all day.
In Kambosos' career, he does not do well as an overwhelming favorite.
Yeah.
He just doesn't, right? He thrives off of being the underdog, the takeover, blah, blah, blah. I hate you all this other stuff. He thrives on that, okay? That Japanese boy was putting it on him and making it very, very hard. Loma, when he switched the fight, just went, all right, I'm going for this. The second that you put pressure on, he can't do the Lopez stuff that makes him special as well. And that's all George does.
all the mind games and all that shit.
It don't work on George.
It does the opposite. It's like you can tell you've wound him the fuck up, and it's not like, oh, you've taken him out of his game plan. He just wants to cave your head in now.
Yep. So. Yep. Boy, listen here, son. Boy, little boy. Yeah. Oh, easy. I'm telling you, the pressure from Kambosos is gonna swarm him, and I think we got a massive upset, which would be the upset of the year, for sure. Like Kiko was it, that would have to be it.
Yeah,
because Kambosos is relatively obscure.
Yeah,
this is his first world title. It
shouldn't be, but goddamn it,
shouldn't be, but he is. But again, food for thought. He's at the minute, the last time of checking, he's a 7-1 underdog, right? He has been relentlessly training, but that's who he is. So I don't think you have to worry about the overtraining. I don't think you have to worry about him doing too much, because whatever system that he has worked for him. Immensely fit, can take a shot. He's not the heaviest of puncher, but the volume is astonishing.
Yeah.
And he was a big Manny sparring partner for a long time. You cannot tell me that. I mean, we've seen Manny sparring videos. It's not chill.
Yeah.
It's not chill at all. He is like, Amir speaks funny from the sparring videos. It's not from the knockouts. Right? Manny is no joke. And you cannot tell me that Manny does not hit harder than Lopez. You cannot tell me that Manny is a whole different level to Lopez. Even then, it's just not the same. I bet the house, babies. Telling you, bet the house. So this time next week, if Kambosos has won, and I'm going to say that would probably be a decision.
Yeah.
A decision that I feel that all of us that were watching it go, yeah. But Lopez bangs on that he got robbed. That's the prediction from Daddy. I'm on a bit of a streak at the minute. That's probably the end of the streak, that one. Anyhow.
I like it.
Is there anything else, my love?
I think that's it.
There we are. I miss you. And I'll speak to you later.
You too, baby.